everyone, we are from the Leo Club of University of Colombo. As you all know, our Essence, the official newsletter of Leo Club of University of Colombo, has started a new initiative called Detect and Correct. Through this newly introduced concept, we are hoping to talk about important and debatable social issues that are not commonly used in the present context. And the most important factor is that you all get the chance to watch this segment through YouTube in addition to reading this article through our newsletter. Here we are trying to link the two platforms in order to give you a better experience. To start off this segment, we thought for making our first episode on one of the crucial and popular concerns in Sri Lankan context, which is women equality and empowerment. To talk about this topic, we collaborated with Mrs. Rasini Bandara, who is a counseling psychologist for Mind Heals platforms, a public speaker, and a personality development coach. So let's talk to Detect and Correct. Good evening, Mrs. Rasini
Good evening,
Bandara.
darling.
So let's start the discussion.
Yes.
So my first question is, what is women equality? Is it existed in Sri Lankan context? For an example, if we take the Sri Lankan Parliament, there are less than 10 women parliamentarians. Is that need to be changed? If so, how can we do it?
Right, so thank you so much, Ishani and Leo Club of Colombo University for giving me this opportunity. I must say that the initiative that you all have taken should be applauded, at the same time, because you all are spreading awareness among the society as well. So that's a wonderful initiative. So congratulations in advance for that. However, coming to your question, women equality. What is women equality? I would say, let's take it in this way. Equality means the right amount of, I would say, even responsibilities or else decision making, all these given to a certain party, regardless of the fact being men or women. So that's equality. And then gender equality is also that, meaning that you're involved in terms of decision making, in terms of economic development, or in terms of choices or whatever that is. If you're given an opportunity, regardless of your gender, that is equality. Then you add a term to it, saying women equality. It's the same whether it's equal to men or it's equal to women. And coming to your point that we have a very less representative ratio when compared to men in the parliament. True, it's actually quite sad, because Sri Lanka is a country where we produced world's first female head of state, Ms. Sirimama Bandaranaike. And coming from there and then to see the representation now, it's quite a sad factor. I must say, it's even sad that this time we still don't have a minister looking after women and child affairs as well. That is just very sidelined to somebody else to take care of. So true, we need a lot of women. And why there's very less percentage is mainly because now you see when somebody's contesting to go to the parliament, you always do like a massive background dig of that person. Now then a lady comes to contest, then everything in her past life, her school life, her social life, all these things will be right out there in front of people. And then a lot of women really fear this factor of what if everything in my past, my boyfriends, my relationships, or the way I used to dress, all these things are pretty much out there. So then not having so much of confidence to deal with the questions or the fingers that is going to be pointed your way, I think is what making women pretty much pull back rather than moving forward in taking such decisions to get into probably an area like politics. And I think that is a place where we should really, I would say, empower the factor, not just women, as in empowering should come as to humanity. So respecting an individual regardless of their gender is essential to any country, not just Sri Lanka.
How far does the culture affect on women equality? And we see it in our day-to-day lives where people mistake the culture with their personal opinions. For example, if we take past, we see women wearing exposed attires. But in the present, if a girl wears something like that, people say, this girl is destroying the culture. So why do we have to face these kind of situations?
Well, it's a lovely question, Mishani, and answer, my God, if I'm going to talk about it, it's going to be very lengthy, but however, I'll try to make it a bit shorter. Now, taking their attire, you stressed out a very important factor there. I would say long time back, way before if we go to, when we as Sri Lankans, let's say, taking the smallest context here, we were very much civilized and very much liberal during the time that we didn't wear clothes at all. Because of the fact that at that time, people, even though let's say were called uncivilized, were much more sophisticated in terms of thinking than they are nowadays. Right? Api samanya ko, I'll use a little bit of Sinhala here because Gramya saha Gami කියන එකෙත් වෙනසක් තියෙනවානේ. So, Ishani, if the attire is a big problem, and if you are fully covered and being fully dressed reduces the I would say issues in the world, I must say there's a big question because the birth of psychological issues happened back in the Victorian times and back in the Western world, where they were covered in so many layers and layers and layers of clothing. So sexual frustration, all those things, the birth of hysteria started over there at that time. So it's actually the perception of people that becomes issues in the society, that becomes a destruction to culture. It's always the way you see it. Now, if you take women in Sri Lanka, 250 years before Christ, Sri Lankan women were involved in real estate business. They had the ability to sell immovable property. So our women were in such a state, and at the same time, women were respected only by the foundation of thinking that they are needed for existence. We were never objectified in any society. Now I'm going to the broader factor. Women were never objectified. Now it's like, okay, so you need a woman next to something for you to sell it. So that is the stereotype that's been given to us now. Okay, so sexualizing a woman is the best way of selling something, right? To market something. When that has come into the picture, regardless of whatever the culture you are in, then it's destruction there. So I think it has nothing to do with the way you dress. It has nothing to do with how much you cover yourself, whatever. The value system you have as a person, the upbringing you have as a person is what I think matters when it comes to all these societal problems or issues.
Do you think that the current feminist revolts fulfill their advocacy role on women's rights and social awareness?
Good question, Ishani. I would say, first of all, when you call yourself a feminist, right, you have a lot of eyes rolling at you. So I always say that, being a feminist doesn't mean that you hate men. It's just a certain voice that you put out there. And at the same time, a lot of people who've spoken about feminism actually, there are a lot of men as well. So there is actually one fundamental factor that you have to take. It's just that, for me, I always say that there is a lot of stress put on women, and then the issues that women go through, all these things, but then very less put on to men. Now here, what they're trying to do is we are trying to justify the gender roles. We think, oh yeah, when you say women, oh, they are the weaker ones, the weakest. And women and children, when you say that, so even when Titanic was going down, So it was women and children, first of all, boarded to all those, lifeboats, but then not men. So why? So aren't they? Is it not justified for them to get weaker? So it's always the perception we have. I mean, don't you think? Like sometimes, let's say, for example, if you take one of you, I mean yourself and a colleague of yours, if let's say your friend is a boy, then you all are facing the same situation. You are expected to cry, but he's expected to stay strong. And do you know how much this stress is causing men as well? So it's actually, I don't know what's the right terminology. I don't know when you say feminist, menist or whatever, but it's actually needed for both men and women. And just because you speak about women's rights, it's not just about women's rights. It's like you are codependent. A man and a woman in a society, they are codependent. So when a woman is doing good, it reflects on the man. When the man is doing good, it reflects on the woman. I mean, for example, if you take the fundamental society, I would say husband and wife. So if the husband is doing good, it reflects the wife. And if the wife is doing good, it reflects the husband. So basic foundation is taken care. When you are good for each other, when you are positive for each other. So I think that is how the society should see this. And speaking, and I think there are so many movements, and I think the fundamental part of that movement itself is sometimes wrong. You think, oh yeah, we are fighting for women's rights. I know that there's one lady whom I knew who won't even invite a male cat to her house. She has I know. She's completely fighting for women's rights in all bases, humans and animals, right? But then it's I think in most cases, it's where we have got them is wrong. තමන් අල්ලන් ඉන්න තැන හරි වැරදි in any of these topics. We know very little about it, so we grip that little bit of it. I would say women, if we take Sri Lanka, women in Sri Lanka never had to go through so much of struggle to get things. It was pretty much offered to us on a silver platter. Now, if you take voting rights also, suffrage, I mean, in the Western world, they had to fight for it. Discrimination was there, but for us it was just given to us. I mean, we got suffrage in the year 1931, whereas I think I'm not entirely sure of it, but then we got it very soon. We got it before India. So we were a country like that. So and then people thought, yes, women deserve it just like men. Voting rights should be given equally. So where was the division there? So like I said, we were a much liberal country. I don't know where civilization has absolutely messed us over.
What barriers do women face in developing careers across their working life? For example, if we take Mrs. Kasturi Wilson, who is a businesswoman and the first female group CEO of public quoted conglomerate in Sri Lanka. So what are your thoughts about it?
Well, a very good question, Bishani. I would say it's nothing to be hyped up about. You know, Kasturi is a power woman, and I would always think that when a woman shines, it's not just her. You know, it reflects on the entire kind. That's what I feel. So just like that, when a man shines, it's there for the entire kind. So Kasturi, I mean, going over there, I think people are so hyped. Oh my God, she's like the first group. You know, it's like it's naturally there in women, just like it's in men. But the only limitation, like you said, is actually here. It's your mindset. I don't think there's anything in this world that limits women. It's only your perceived limit. It's only your mindset that is limiting you. Because it's like many women are like, okay, so I buy a bus ticket to, for example, let's say from Colombo, and you want to go to Anuradhapura, right? You take a bus ticket and you get down somewhere in Gampaha. So they think, oh my God, like I'm gonna get married. So after marriage, I'm gonna have kids, and then my struggle is gonna be for my kids. And then again you think, oh my God. And there's another very interesting quality in women, that we feel so responsible for everything. We are so responsible that whatever happens in the world, we are responsible. Your child falls sick, you're responsible. I always say this also. I mean, if your husband gets corona, you're responsible. So you don't have to be responsible for everything. And then women really, really struggle to satisfy the society. They are more concerned about society being happy than themselves being happy. So you're thinking, oh my God, I'm going to really do the mother's role, be at home, be with my kids, completely forget what I want to do in life, so that the society will think, oh yeah, she's a good mother. But internally you're falling apart. And when you do all these things together, and it's either so hyped up, or else they say, oh my God, the women themselves look at other women in a very negative way. So that's a very big problem in nowadays society. Women are not there for each other. So empowerment is something that is not something that you get from the society. Do not wait till empowerment comes to you. Empowerment is something that you can develop within. So Kasturi is somebody who has developed it within her. I mean, there are so many amazing female personalities. And when a lady go right up to the corporate ladder, or climb the way up in any ladder, in any particular field, it's so hyped up, thinking, oh my God, she has done something which is unbelievable. It's very believable. Because any woman, just like a man, has the potential and the same capacity, capability, or maybe even a little more than a man to achieve in life. It's not something that you should be really hyped up. I don't have anything hype to talk about Kasturi going there. She's a power woman. So look at her personality. And Jayanti Kurutumpala, I mean, the first person to reach the highest mountain. I mean, come on. If being a woman just limited her, there you go. And how many such personalities we have. I know the fact that this was told to me by a gynecologist, that Susantika Jayasinghe was 8 weeks pregnant when she ran Olympics. Yes. Exactly. If you take personalities like Maria Sharapova, all these characters, see, they have the potential. Women are very strong, but absolutely have very less self-worth. And the minute that you really, really understand your self-worth, I don't think sky is absolutely the limit.
Is there any relationship between women equality and women empowerment? If so, why women need to be empowered? And what are the ways of women empowering?
I like the whole facial expression you gave, Ishani, with the whole frowning. That I think that itself answers your question. I know for a fact, with the brief conversation that we had, you completely agree with what I had to say.
Yes.
Empowering, first of all, like if I'm to tell the viewers, what is empowering is that you giving power to someone. You telling someone, oh yes, here you go, I'm giving power to you. I don't think anyone in this world need power coming from someone else. It's good if you can be inspired and maybe even aspire to be like someone. That's a different story. But nobody needs to give that feel to you. I would say motivation, if it is always extrinsic, if it is coming from outside, it's never motivation. Motivation is also something that should come from within. For example, when a school or a university invites me, come and do a talk about like getting yourself motivated to do the exam, I would say do not do anything for anyone else. Do not sit for the exam for your parents. Don't sit for it because you want to uplift your parents' life. No, sit for it because you want it. Do something because it makes you happy. Because for how long are you going to make the society happy? So the minute that you drop that factor, then I think 50% of empowering is there within you. And then empowerment is something, Ishani, that is not just restricted for women. I don't know why they don't talk about men being empowered. If women empowerment is all we need, then why the majority percentage in terms of suicide is towards men? They are also struggling. They are having their own battle. And here we are so focused on women. And how many boys are out there who's really struggling with their problems and trying to live up to the societal expectation of being a man? No. I would say just because you're emotional, vocal about your problems doesn't make you a less of a man or less of a woman. It's a basic factor that you're being human. So I think empowerment or equality, it should be for humanity. Every person living on this earth deserves to be treated equally, deserves to be treated with dignity, deserves to be treated with respect. That is a fundamental right of every human. So I think we can, like you and I, the same expression, we can absolutely kick that word out. Empowerment or equality is not what we want. It should be there for whole of humanity.
This is my last question, ma'am.
Okay.
So, how can we use women equality and women empowerment concept in a positive manner for the development of our country?
Okay, so one thing I think, let's go to the very basics of it, Ishani. I think number one, the biggest issue that I see in nowadays society is that women are not there for themselves. So first of all, start giving unconditional positive regards for your kind. You know, when a woman is doing good, when your best friend, let's say, is doing good, appreciate it, love it, embrace it. And if you feel that that person is struggling, help her. And at the same time, for example, let's say you see that there is some sort of a fault in me from your perspective. If you tell that to me, I should be taking it in a very positive way. That you are giving me a little bit of wisdom for me to grow. So that's the thing. So when let's say, for example, like again coming to the point, let's say you see something that I should develop in me, then when you say it, I should be able to take it in a positive note. I think being humble is a quality that you should have. Humble to learn, humble to accept, and humble enough to help someone else grow. Because I would say for you to be good, someone else doesn't have to be bad. You can grow together, you can develop together. So that is the kind of a right mindset anyone should have, regardless of the fact you're a man or a woman. So number one, then when you see beauty in somebody, appreciate it. I'll give you a small example, maybe not related to this, but in Hawaii, Ishani, there is a beautiful practice. Now in Hawaii, people say, when you see a beautiful house, when you see a car, maybe someday you really want to get something like that in life, bless that. Bless that house, bless that car, bless the owner of it. Because someday, imagine when you get a house like that, when you get a car like that, how many blessings you would get. So what if all of us together be like that? When we see somebody going up the ladder, you know, be really happy about it. Aspire to be somebody like that someday. You know, maybe you couldn't, but still, you know, you have the possibility of giving that to the generations to come, for your children. Pass these good qualities to your children. And then I think when it comes so naturally like that, you don't really need to force these terminologies to people, thinking, oh yeah, now it's time that you should empower. Now it's time that you should practice equality. Do not throw these gender stereotyping to your children. Start with the colors itself. Pink is for girls, blue is for boys. No, color is a color. Regardless of the fact the color, it's a color. And then even toys. I mean, I would say that my favorite color is black. Does that make me less feminine? Absolutely not. It's a preference. All these things are preference. Your sexual orientation is a preference. Your liking towards a man or a woman, that's a preference. So you have to think, again, I would say your perception is everything. So if you take the initiative, educating your children to be good academics, yes, true, but educating them to be good humans with good qualities, I think is much, much important than making them good academics. So if you see there's something wrong, pass it on to the generation to come so that they can correct it. I don't think we are late to get there. And we can, of course, I think, number one, appreciate other people, respect other people's times, respect their struggle. Because you and I, we meet like this, but then I don't know your story, you don't know my story. Even, I would say, even a woman who has taken up the career of being a prostitute has a reason and a justification why she is in that position. You will never know it unless you try to get to know it. So understand these things. So we all can justify our side of the story, just like you and me. So at the same time, have that genuine empathy towards people. Try to understand a problem from their perspective as well. Not just, don't try to be so judgmental and be in your perspective. Just have that understanding. And then at the same time, learn about it if you don't know about it. Now, my parents used to say when I was small, how are you ever going to develop, I would say, love towards another religion if you don't know about it? So they took the initiative of educating me. They asked me, learn about, just because you are a Buddhist, do not just learn Buddhism, just learn about, just read the Bible, read the Quran, read the Bhagavad Gita and understand. So I think that is what you should empower in children. If it is a lost cause for you, empower your children. And I think then, I think pretty much the problem will be solved then and there.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was a wonderful pleasure to listen to your thoughts. And also we really appreciate that the fact that you gave the opportunity to interview you despite your busy schedule.
Thank you so much, Tani. Thank you. So I would like to thank you, Ishani, and also again Leo Club of Colombo University for taking this initiative in spreading awareness about many vital topics that's essential to spread awareness of. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
With that, our first episode on Detect and Correct comes to an end. I hope you all get some insightful knowledge with this session. Until next time, Ishani Senatipati. Thank you.